This is the magicwordpodcast.com.
We are now beginning our day number 2, which means we've completed day number 1, and probably the prelude to that. I always think of this day number 1 of being day number 2 because we have so much going on day number 1. First of all, there's a golf tournament, not but about a couple dozen people that show up every year, but also because of the activities that happen throughout the rest of the day and the evening that are just informal things that are not part of the regular program. But the official day was Wednesday the 3rd. You heard part of that, the activities that happened on yesterday's episode, but today I'm here with the stage manager, Mr. Mark Holstein. Hey there, Mark.
Hey, Scott. Good morning.
It is morning, early morning.
It is early, yeah.
You had a long night. So you went over to the Legion last night?
We did for a little bit. The older I get, the less I can tolerate the late nights, but we did stop by, see a few friends, which was great fun.
Did you see a lot of people who were there for the first time and kind of looking around? I've talked to some new people who've never been to Abbott's before.
There are some new people. I ran into Carbonero last night, and this is his first Abbott's, and he was being typically Chip and absorbing it all in. So, there are definitely some new people here.
He's not going to miss a thing over here. I'm sure he wants to.
You're right. I'm sure you're right. He was full of energy and ready to go at 11 o'clock last night.
Well, you've been a stage manager now for how long?
I've been coming this is my 45th consecutive get-together. I've never missed one.
Wow.
Other than the year we all missed one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, you don't just join the stage crew. You kind of start hanging around and helping out and pulling a rope or, hanging a curtain. And that's how I started. And I would guess that was probably around 1980. And slowly but surely became part of the crew. And as you'll recall, Sue's dad was the stage manager at the time, and Dorney was still around. And so I started learning from those guys, and then that continued with Sue's dad and Jerry Conklin, the amazing Conklins, who helped out backstage and knew more about stage stuff than anybody I've ever met. And so slowly but surely I worked myself into the role.
Do you really attribute your position there and the things you've learned from those mentors and others and just through experience that has benefited your own personal show?
Oh, no doubt. First of all, I have seen and stage managed the greatest acts in magic. It's hard to think of an important magician in the last 40 years that hasn't been on this stage. And so I've had the opportunity to meet them, talk to them, observe how they approach things. No question it's helped me as a performer. And I think being a performer helps me as a stage manager because I understand what the acts need. I understand what it's like to stand on that stage. We've performed at the Get-Together 11 times. And so...
You and Sue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so as a result, that combination, I think, allows us to be an effective crew. Mm-hmm. All of the crew members are magicians. And so, I don't think you'll find a more motivated or dedicated crew anywhere because they know what it's like and they want the acts to succeed. So they'll do whatever it takes to make that happen.
So what I hear you saying is you should, as a magician, get any experience as much as you can, wherever you can, specifically stay if you are a stage magician, or even not, if you're a parlor magician, whatever, to learn kind of behind the scenes. And if you get an opportunity to go pull the curtains and shuffle around chairs, there's a lot to be learned there,
100%. I think to be an effective performer, you have to understand stagecraft, and I would not separate close-up magicians. It's funny because we'll occasionally get a close-up magician who is invited to perform some piece and they don't.
Like Chad Long or Michael Amar.
Yeah, and they don't always understand the stagecraft side of things. Yeah. And here they're pretty safe because we do. Mm-hmm. But if you go into a theater where the stage crew could care less, you really could find yourself in trouble. And I wasn't at FISM this year, you were, but my understanding is a lot of the close-up was very theatrical, lighting, sound. Mm-hmm. So yes, I think every magician owes it to him or herself to learn that side of the business.
Yeah, when you talk about being safe, that's very true. And talking to Steve Chesaday yesterday, he was saying that as a magician, he can anticipate if something looks like it's going to be going wrong, as opposed to if you're just backstage and you're, working with the ballet or the symphony or something, you don't understand magic. It's just another guy on the stage. 100%. But the magicians have a net, I guess, to fall.
Absolutely, and they just care more. You know,
true.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But you're right, Steve.
You guys want them to look good.
We want them to, of course we do. But you're right, Steve and Anthony and Richard, all very experienced magicians. They can spot a problem before it even is apparent to the audience. And fortunately, we don't have a lot of those problems, but they do happen.
Well, last night was I wouldn't say a perfect, but it's as near perfect as can be. Last night was a wonderful show, and I want to talk a little bit about that. It was hosted by Nick DeFont. And I say not as perfect as it could have been, only because that Tim Wright was supposed to be here, and so things had to be changed at the last minute, but who would have known? It was just like, I'm sure, a duck across the water, underneath your paddling, but looks perfect across the top of the water.
Well, you're right. There was a lot of paddling under the water because, the rehearsal required us to kind of restructure the show, and Nick and Joel did a really good job of doing that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. As you'll recall, Joel had a PowerPoint presentation. The Colon High School is not terribly a well-equipped theater. In a normal theater, you would simply fly in a screen, and we had to build that screen behind the curtain.
Really?
Yeah, and get it in place. And so we had to stage the show in a way that we had the mid-traveler closed so we could get it into position. And then when Bizarro was done, get that thing downstage and get the projector focused. So there was a lot of paddling, as you say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the show goes, I thought it was really good. I like the fact that Nick came back and did different bits instead of doing one long thing. Same thing with Bizarro, of them coming back and forth.
I totally agree, and I think that's actually a good format for a show.
Yeah, different structure that I've seen.
Makes it fun. Shows that I've structured. One of my mentors was Jay Marshall, and one of the things, Jay was talented at 1,000 things, but one of the things he was very good at was show order, and I learned a lot from him about that. And when I've structured shows, I very much like the format we used last night.
That brings me to a good point. Who is responsible ultimately for the show structure? Is there there's usually not a producer to magic shows and conventions. Guys show up and say, well, who's going to go first? I don't know. Who decides that?
Yeah, no, Mike Miller, 100%. Mike is the producer.
Talent and organizer.
Yeah, and he has the ultimate approval on the show order. Before Mike, it was Hank Morehouse. But yeah, and I can tell you as a stage manager, I've had MCs come to me and say, we're going to change the show. And my answer is always the same. That's not my call. You need to get a hold of Mike and clear it with him. If he clears it, fine.
So most conventions should be that. I've seen sometimes when I've been on the bill or something, and it's like, well, I think it should be structured this way. Well, it sounds good. Let's do that. It's kind of like free winging it.
I don't support that. I think that's a mistake. There needs to be somebody in charge. And I have stage managed shows where that was the case, I don't like it because then first of all, it's wrong. Secondly, it's uncomfortable for the acts. They want to know that everything's been thought through and there's actually a plan. And when they show up backstage and there's no plan, that's a very uncomfortable place to be.
No, that's exactly right. There does need to be a show structure, and also the talent chairman should be the one where there be a theme. And I recall, Hank Morehouse used to have these themes sort of be an Oriental night or magic from Europe or whatever, Texas night or something.
Yep, Hank was a huge fan of FISM and very connected to the FISM organization, and he liked the way they approach things, and so he tried to import some of that to the little town of Colon. Yeah. And so you're right, he would bring in a series of European acts that he saw at FISM, and that would be the theme, or Asian acts, and he just loved doing that, and we loved it because he brought in acts that you just weren't going to see anywhere else, and to see them in the middle of these cornfields is pretty amazing.
Well, a guy also who was a juggler, always a juggler seems to stand out. I can't remember his name, but who was his name?
Doug Stafford.
Yeah, and he was a Renaissance performer and very entertaining.
He was great, and he did some really technically impressive juggling, and you could tell that he had time in front of audiences. He knew what he was doing. Yeah, nice guy too, which is always a bonus.
Good to work with someone like that who's not going to be a prima donna or whatever.
We don't get many of those. There have been a few, but it's pretty rare. We're a family, and people are here because they want to be, and they pretty quickly figure out we're here to make them look good. So prima donnas are pretty rare. Yeah.
Well, as I said, you do a very good job year after year, and that experience really shows, and it really helps the show by having that continuity and everything that comes through. And then you work well then with Mike Miller then as well.
Oh, Mike is a very, very good friend of mine, and we work very well together. He understands, because he's also stage manager, and so he understands what I do and what our needs are. And the stage is very unique. We don't have much in the way of facilities, and so we really have to stretch that place to make the shows look good. And having done it for 30 plus years, we know what we're doing.
Yep, it shows, certainly. Okay. Well, again, a good show last night. We have 2 more to go, and a couple of things. 3 more to go. Oh, golly, yes. Yeah. Time has kind of run together for me the last couple of months.
And a bunch of lectures, too.
But a couple of other surprises that are not surprises. Some people who are not showing up due to a variety of reasons.
Yeah. Michael Carbonero had to cancel. Obviously, we're disappointed. I'm personally disappointed. I only met Michael once at Magic Castle and was really looking forward to working with him because I like him very much. And then Guy Hollingsworth had to cancel, and that's unfortunate. But, these things happen. Conventions are dynamic. Things change. We can promise everyone there'll be 3 really great shows. They may not be the shows we planned on, but they'll be great shows.
As the program always says, subject to change.
Well, yeah, and, when you do your best, people need to understand Abbott's is able to attract a level of talent that most conventions can't.
Oh, they would envy. Yeah.
Yeah.
People want to come here, from all over the world. I want to play Abbott's.
Absolutely. And they're loyal to Greg and Debbie. I mean, Lance Burton won his first major prize here. Matt King won his first major prize here. The California group, Mike Haveney, Tina Leonard.
And they're all here this week.
They're here because there's something about Abbott's that is unique. And I'm not talking about Magic Week. I don't acknowledge that. This is the Abbott's Magic Get-Together, and those guys aren't working for the other people in town. They're working for the Abbott's Magic Company, and they want to be here, and I can tell you I can't tell you the details, but they've all been extraordinarily generous in terms of what they've been willing to accept to do these performances. The IBM and SAM can't afford these lineups because these folks want to be here.
They want to be here.
Yes, sir.
Big difference.
Huge difference. And they know that the stage is Spartan, and they know that, they're going to the middle of nowhere, and they want to be here.
Yeah. I remember, was it last year or the year before when Jeff Hobson, we were playing at this Amish home or out in the barn over there, and he was talking about, hey, I've started in Sydney in the Opera House, and I've been on New York with the Illusionists, and now I can put on my resume, I've been in the barn of an Amish farm,
Sounds like Jeff to me.
Yeah. But he wants to be here. That's
he's another great example. He's working, so he can't be here this week, or he would be. There's just something really special about the family.
I hate to use the word magical, but there is something magical about this place.
There really is. I flew back from London twice to be here. Let's just say my current professional obligations make it tough for me to be here this week, but I wouldn't be any other place.
That's kind of what Steve was saying, too. He would give up shows and has just for this. A lot of people come because of how special this is. So we're trying to emphasize to you listeners that if you haven't been, you should come. And there are several people, like you just mentioned, Chip Romero and others, who have said, what is this about? And I just talked with Chris Philpott last evening also, who was saying, I've been reading about this in Genie all my life, and this thing's still going on. And he said, I don't live that far away. He said, this is great. Yeah. So I think a lot of people who haven't come should be coming then, plan on even next year. Or if you're close enough, drive on over.
Well, look, we drove from Austin, so you can drive from anywhere, I guess.
Yes, you can.
But look, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. You will experience a convention unlike any other anywhere. We literally are sitting literally right now, Scott and I are sitting among soybean fields. The high school sits in the midst of a cornfield. There's only 2 restaurants in town.
One flashing light.
When I started coming, they didn't have a police department. They do now. Colin's gotten a little bigger.
They got one guy.
Yeah, but in the overall, it's a pretty special experience.
Yeah, it really is. And thanks again for all that you've done over here then too.
Well, I'm blessed with a really great and supportive crew. They work much harder than I have any right to expect, and it's all because they want the shows to be successful.
Yeah, and they are. Well, thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it.
No, my pleasure.
And always good seeing you and spending time with you.
Likewise, Scott. Good to see you, too.
So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Mark Holstein. Scotty up. Well, it is day 2, and we were just talking with Mark Holstein, and now a couple more friends. So I see we're kind of on the street, just finished breakfast, and I finished, and you guys are on your way. So there's Mike Powers and Maria Schweiter. Hey, guys.
I got to tell you something.
Yes.
This is where we met, on this street.
Really?
Yes, that's how we met. Hey, I almost forgot.
Har.
We met right over there. See that little entrance to the sidewalk?
Yeah, is that like the old bank building, or what is it?
Yeah, that was where we met in 1992 or 3.
92.
Was it during Abbott's?
Yeah.
It was during Abbott's,
I was here by myself,
'Cause
so
Maria's
I always
a
came by
magician.
myself
You know
anyway.
from Fectors that Maria's a magician. So,
Yeah, of course.
She was with some people from Champaign-Urbana that I knew, and I was talking to them, and she came out of the restaurant over here with this black mini skirt on. Is this stuff we can talk about on your show?
Yes.
Okay.
That was what attracted me to my wife. She had long legs. I remember she
Oh,
wore
man.
green
Dude.
wide whale corduroys. And it's like, wow.
We are so on the same page, dude. So I kind of worked my way up from the legs, went wow, face, wow.
Yeah.
And then it took about a day, and then I realized there was a brain in there too. I mean, that's where it all came together.
I can relate so much.
I've been coming here since 1971 or 2 by myself because.
Oh, you were?
Oh yeah.
Probably weren't a lot of female
I was
magicians.
other than me and Tina Leonard. That was it.
And Jania.
And Jania.
Yeah,
That
Jania
was
Taylor was Maria's a Chavez graduate. I don't know if you knew that.
I did. We talked about that, I think, before when we recorded a podcast.
Yeah, probably had to mention that. It's okay. I could still.
Well, the Harriet is staying in Neil Foster's house.
Oh yeah.
And she was talking about possibly in the future we might have parties over there, and particularly invite you and Janie and others who have taken the Chavez course. It'd be kind of nice to reconvene. You guys were in the basement, I guess.
Yep, we were. Yeah, I remember that vividly.
Brandon Berry, or what is? Wasn't there a guy in your class too?
There was 3 of us when I took it. Myself and her name was Vaughn. She used to work for the Grand David.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
an Oriental woman, and her hair was down to her ankles.
Wow.
And then there was a
Of course,
guy.
she was only 2 feet tall.
Yeah, she was. She was only like here. And then
Nice
there
one.
was a one man, and he was a police officer. I can't remember his name or what town he lived in, but he was. But there was just the 3 of us. Yeah. And then his assistant was the young guy, the young kid in those days. He took over Chavez. What's his name?
Yeah,
Oh, Dale Sowick?
No,
it
it
was
was
a
Neil's
young-
assistant.
Oh,
here.
I see here. Okay.
Brandon something, or Brandon, that last name. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But she was in. I wasn't even in magic in '72. I was like maybe late '70s is when I started getting into magic. Met Marlo and got real fired up.
Was this one of the first magic conventions you had attended?
I think it was the first one I ever attended.
And you?
Same thing.
Did you go to others other than this, or was this just
Not
kind of
for a
nearby
while,
for you?
Not for a while, because it was close. I lived in Urbana, Illinois,
Yeah.
so I could drive here, and I always pitched a tent.
Did you?
I did, yes.
In the old days, there
Yeah,
used to be a on the outskirts of town, like Tent City out there.
Yeah.
People going on the
Yeah,
cheap.
because they have no motels or
No,
anything.
no.
And even if they did, as you're a kid,
Right.
you can't afford
Well,
anything.
I was in early 20s,
How many?
and I
Have you
couldn't
been
afford
here
it.
many times?
I have. My first one was 85.
85. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Now, not
you're-
that I've attended
you're an
every
old
one,
regular.
but yeah.
Yeah. I haven't attended every one, but many. And Maria probably more
I
than
have. I've probably missed 2 or 3 in my life, but I've been since 71.
Are there some
I was 22, maybe.
that are outstanding in your mind? It's kind of like, oh, I remember that so-and-so
the
was here.
convention.
Yeah.
I just remember the one
Hank
with
Moore
the
house on the street.
Oh, okay.
Oh well, no, I remember him doing stuff, and I bought the spot can from him. I still
I just
have
remember
it.
meeting my wife here. That's
That's all that's important.
that was the best one.
That was the real magic
That's right.
that happened over here.
Yeah.
And so you've been together now for how long?
1994.
Going on 30.
30. Great.
Yep. Been a good ride.
Yep, that sounds great. Well, last night's show was really great. I haven't talked with anybody, but you saw the show last
Yeah,
night.
did.
yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about that if you
Sure.
got just a minute. So,
Well, I was hot to see Bizarro because I think it's a unique. I've never seen him before.
Oh.
I've seen him do a little kind of mini lecture online, and he's very creative. And I like the character. I'm going,
Yeah.
this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if I'd like it, and I really thought it was great. I thought he really jumped out as a unique act last night. Nick DeFat was hilarious.
very much so.
Joel was hilarious. I mean, there wasn't any magic going on there in his presentation, but
Well, I thought it was fun with Nick DeFat. I've got to point this out. Someone had said this on my Facebook page on a post. Said, you've got to mention this in the podcast, and I agree, that whenever he had Nick had on this Velcro outfit, and we were throwing these balls at him, and somebody said, reminded me of Ed Ames when he was on Johnny Carson, and he threw that
the axe.
tomahawk, the axe.
Oh man, that thing was just fall off your chair laughing because it was just like boom, and Carson is so ready to go off on unscripted stuff. All he just had a look. He just gave the little
Yes.
look and just
Right.
killed. Yeah.
when I threw that ball and it hit him right in the crotch and stuck, to his Velcro last night.
That was hilarious.
A 1 in a million shot.
I know. And then he invoked you a couple times about not having to be on your show.
Yeah, he got a laugh, so it's like, hey, people know who he is. Maybe.
Well, people know your show is what that proved, is that you're well known enough with the show to be called out in the theater. That was great.
That's fun.
Yeah, he was really fun.
And the other fellow did a great job, who was a Renaissance juggler. I thought was very entertaining. The jugglers always go over great, and he had some very difficult technical stuff that he was doing as well.
Yeah, that block thing. I'm always impressed with that, and the swords, and what was that? Tasers at the end there?
Yes,
that was kind of
juggle 3 tasers.
Yeah,
and an
I've
apple
never seen
or
that
something.
before.
Yeah.
Tasers was interesting. That was a new one on me. And the apple. I like it when they juggle and they take a bite out of the apple every cycle,
Joel Hodgson was great. I love him, and I love Mystery Science 3 or 3.
Oh, man.
3000, Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah.
And I know there were some people of an older generation who were not familiar with that. So I'm glad that he showed some video about what that was.
Well, that was a show that just unexpectedly, I didn't know what it was the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
What is this? Mystery Science? Well, Science Theater, okay.
Yeah,
and then you're just falling off your chair laughing.
Funny.
I mean, these robots are so hilarious. But no, that was wonderful. And the vent dummy thing with sort of just this straight face that he's showing these pictures. And it's just, man, you had to be there to appreciate what we're talking about.
Yeah, that he was growing up and interested in not so much in magic as he was in ventriloquism and showing these rather interesting figures.
They were like scary.
They were scary figures. I didn't want to have that sleep in my room with me.
Good job. The penguin one, I think, was the one that he actually used as a kid. He had a picture of him as a 9-year-old kid with this penguin ventriloquist dummy. And then as magicians, when you get stuff in the mail when you're just starting off in magic, and you're like, wait, was it in the mail? No, come on, where is that? And then he'd have the instructions for how to be a ventriloquist, the chamber of your voice.
Right.
And all.
That's not what I wanted.
9 years old. I just want to know how to throw my voice,
Right. Yeah, because all the pictures, like in the comic books and everything, is like how to throw your voice. You hear a voice coming out of a trunk over there. It's like, I want to do that. Wait a minute.
Of course you want to do that. You can make the teacher look like an idiot,
Right. Doesn't quite work like that. Yeah, it was so fun. And today we're going to be having, I think John Lovick's going to be giving a lecture starting up at 11 o'clock.
We're going to go
and,
with that.
Yep. And then this afternoon, I'd forgotten who else is lecturing this afternoon.
There's one Quentin Alexander, if I get the guy's name right, at 1 o'clock, I think. And John's at 11.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then there's a big gap of just street magic. So
a lot of street magic. Well, there's some also magic going on over at Abbott's.
Right.
I know that John Shango was there yesterday, and then Jeffrey Allen, some other different people.
That's a pay-as-you-go deal for $5 or something, so no big deal if you want to see the show. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's always fun.
What's his name? So we're going to be I think we got a program over here this afternoon.
Alexander thing or something. It's about...
Rental Alexander. You were thinking Quentin Reynolds, weren't you?
No, yeah.
So it's Rental Alexander.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
No problem, Scotty.
So
Martini's later on.
Yes, about 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
I'm going to try to get over to Curly's at 5 if I can.
See you there.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
So then you can do the martini version of the show.
There
That's
you
right.
go.
That's right. The drunk show.
The drunk show.
That's what Brad Henderson calls that little drunk show of yours,
Do you get a little loosey-goosey in
That's
there?
right.
Do
Yeah,
you?
people
That's
loosen up a
cool.
little bit and they talk a little more.
Oh, nice.
So we'll
Okay.
see.
All right, we'll have to listen to it.
Listen, thank you guys very much. Always a
Freaks
pleasure.
are going to the diner now.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Mike Powers and Maria Schweiter. Scotty out. I'm here now at the Laughlin Magic. What is actually the name of the store?
Grand Magic Theater.
Grand Magic Theater with Dwayne Laughlin and Mary. Hey guys, hey Dwayne.
Hey there. Wonderful to be here and be able to talk.
And Mary.
Hello, Scott.
Great to see you. And I'm so excited I've been into your theater, seen it in years past. And throughout the year, I understand that you have shows on Tuesday nights typically here? Or
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
Okay.
So we do 3 times a week starting April 1st.
Yeah. And during Abbott's, then you have more shows, I guess?
Yeah, during Abbott's week, it's starting Tuesday night every night at 8. So we're running, 5 days in a row, and then Saturday we do a matinee as well. So very full schedule this week.
Now, the kinds of things that you sell are general magic. I heard you say just like puppets to everything, I guess.
Yes, primarily it's our own.
Creations?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you have in like your lecture notes, I mean, you got those great MC things. We were talking earlier about feathers, flowers, and things.
Fortunately, we've produced a lot of products over the years, and with the modern state of sales, if you want to compete without having to be the lowest priced person on the internet, you pretty much have to have your own line. So we developed our exclusive line so we can price it fairly and not have to worry about people undercutting us and things like that. So
And you don't wholesale a lot to other jobbers?
we stopped wholesaling, so it's only available through my son's website and through our store.
And what's the website?
Laughlin Magic Store, LAFLIN, then magicstore.com.
That sounds great. Now, you got a Magic Theater also, and how many seats are in there?
We can seat 120, but we discovered because the back area, we're an old hardware store we remodeled, the back area isn't elevated like we want it to be. And so we took about 20 seats out just to make sure that everybody who is here has a good experience and a better view.
And just to squelch the rumors, that isn't a rumor. That's right, Mary. You guys are heading out this Saturday. Is going to be your last show then?
Yes, it is.
And what's happening from here?
Well, Sunday night we have a music show. Dwayne has a band here in town. We have a music show. From there we go to Branson, where we will be sort of retiring. Dwayne will never quit singing.
I can't imagine you.
Performing. But we're going to pretend we're retired and just pick and choose what we want to do when we want to do it.
And you have family out that way too, right?
Our family is actually further west.
Oh.
But just by not being so tied down, we'll have more time with them.
Yes. Well, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's the retirement. It took us a long time to define it, but we said we moved from have to want to. You know, the showbiz adage when you have a theater is produce or perish. Every morning you got to sell tickets. Every day you got to market. All that it's relentless, and we're ready to get a place where it's not relentless.
Right.
And very much tied into that, it's time to be grandpa and grandma. We've got kids, grandkids, and great grandkids, and we want more time to see them.
I know they've got like 17 theaters in Branson. So you are not serious. I mean, obviously you're not looking to open a theater or get in with anybody or anything.
Well, we have tons of friends down there, and very likely I'll do guest appearances here and there, and because I like music as well as magic, I might even sing with some people, but definitely not going to have our own theater. No, we've clearly made the decision. We love the theater business, but it's time for us to step away from that.
Well, it's good to have another magician out there. They have quite a few then as well.
Lots of them in town. Lots of very good magicians in Branson, and they're all friends, and that makes it extra fun. I like going to see their shows, like to see the new things come up with, and once in a while I get to help them back behind the scenes with some new thing that's going to be out for the new year.
So are you guys going to be coming back from time to time to Abbott's?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to answer. I mean, I can't imagine that we won't, but and right now we hope to do conventions and things. We hope that our new schedule will free us up for that. You know, for years we were at pretty much every convention that happened, and then we got busy performing in theaters, which meant we couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I missed you because you were like at every convention all the time.
We were, but once you're full-time in a theater, you do 2 shows a day every day or what it is, you can't go anywhere.
Right.
So now we're excited to get back out and see friends and kind of do some of the things we used to, but we don't have it on the schedule yet. In other words, you know, this is a new thing in life, and so far we've kept the slate clean because we want to say, let's just be real careful to pick and choose where we're going to go, what we want to do. But I can't imagine not seeing the Abbott's family.
Well, I would think so because a lot of friends come every year.
Abbott's might be the convention that we pick and choose to just come and hang out with friends and not do business, just to enjoy being here.
That's got to be funny because you were saying earlier, Mary, that this is going to stay as far as a theater. And Greg Bordner, I think, or I'm sorry, you said that Carl Thornton wanted to keep this open, so they're going to continue. So what I'm saying is that in future years, you come back saying, oh, wow, you know, seeing it from the outside in a completely different perspective from the theater, from the other side of the footlights.
I think we'll be proud of it.
Yeah, we've certainly built something here to be proud of, you know. So congratulations, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, we want to see it keep
It's
going.
been fun.
Yeah. How many years here?
2.5?
2.5. We came with the pandemic, you know, nothing to do. We decided to build a theater, and then it started working. And that's actually one of the things that precipitated our decision toward stepping away at the end of the summer. And that is, we picked up bus tours this year. We picked up group things across the state of Michigan. And we said, the longer we stay, the more people are going to be counting on us being here. The more people are going to be, you know, assuming that we're there to help them with their events.
Sure.
And we said, if we keep building this, we're going to let more people down, and we don't want to do that. It's kind of like if we don't plan to do this forever, then the time to say we better make the changes now. But the good news is we have enough in place, enough happening, that we really think with the right leadership that somebody can build on what we've done and keep this alive.
Yeah, well, sounds like that you've kind of got a plan then, too, so I wish you luck.
And people in town have a vision to do it, but it's still not an easy thing. I don't think anyone, unless, it's like the old thing, walk a mile in my shoes, but especially the theater business, it's a very difficult business. It just requires constant attention, constant work. The shows are the fun part. It's everything else is the hard part. And so folks coming in, and we really trust they're going to make it go, but they're going to have to understand it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. And you guys have, again, done very well with that, and God has blessed you.
Yeah, very thankful. Yes, somehow we've survived. Just count my blessings. We've survived in this business for years and years and years, and that's something to say, really.
It really is.
And we've had a wonderful time.
Yeah,
I love the show. Oh yes, and even the show we have here right now, I absolutely love it. I love the team. I'm very proud of it. It's a good thing, and so emotionally, it's hard to leave, but intellectually, it's time to make the choice.
Good thinking.
Yes.
Sometimes people are like that Oriental magician on too long.
Yes.
And don't know when to quit.
Well, years ago, Jay Marshall made a comment to me, and it was a time when Carol Fox was stumbling on stage and such. We all loved Carol. But Jay leaned over to me. I was backstage, and he said, Dwayne, look at this, and remember, retire before you should have, which I thought was very interesting.
Good
so
advice.
try to retire while you're still sharp and while you still represent what your career's been about. Right. And it's just strange how a little statement he made like that stuck in my head. And at this stage in my life, I remember, but I'm still going to perform. I'm not ready to be done performing.
I'm in your same boat. I'm the same way.
At this pace, that's all.
That's exactly right. Well, listen, thank you guys very much for your time. I know the shop's opening over here, and you're going to be having customers coming in momentarily. And so thanks, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck. And we'll be seeing you in Branson.
Yes, and it's time for us to go sweep popcorn up off the floor so we can start again.
It's the glory.
That's right. Showbiz.
The glamour. That's
the glamour.
right.
That's right. So that was Mary and Dwayne Laughlin for the Magic Word Podcast. Scotty out. Well, we've just finished the evening show, and it was fantastic. And I'm here with a fellow who is he's a triple threat. So far, he's been a double threat. He coordinated the Open Colon Golf Tournament, and then also today was responsible for giving us a cemetery tour. Here he is, Al the Only. Hey, Al.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Scott.
Good to see you again, my friend. And so we always have, first of all, the first day starts out with the golf tournament, and that was a lot of fun. We usually have a couple dozen people, roughly.
I think we had 23 this year.
There we go. And this year was just outstanding weather. You never know what it's going to be like. Usually it's hot and muggy, or sometimes rainy, but there was a little bit of a breeze. It wasn't too bad, about 80 degrees or so.
Yeah,
beautiful.
But Michigan weather in August.
So I have no reason to complain about the golf.
It could have been muggy, it could have been hot, it could have been a mosquito buffet.
That's right.
We scored.
And the course was in great shape, I thought.
Yes, it was.
I don't know whether the guy we've had a lot of water up here recently, or it's fertilized or whatever, but it seemed like it was great shape.
The owner, Don, told me that it was a very rainy beginning of the season.
That's the reason.
And now it's leveled off.
We benefit from that. One of the best I've seen those greens in years. Really good, too.
Good turnout, great weather, a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Well, that was the important thing. I didn't play very good golf, but I had a lot of fun. And I won a couple of bucks.
Well, that's the important thing.
And so today you were given the cemetery tour.
Wait, I'm going to finish something about the golf.
Okay, yeah.
We had 4 people tie for first place.
And that's got to be a first also.
It really is. Well, we use a one-day handicapping system. I've probably mentioned it in the past. And I shot a 111. But with the one-day handicapping system, I think I had a 30. You do the math. Anyway, brought my score down to 72.
So you ended up one in the 4-way tie.
Right. Now, we had somebody who shot a legitimate 74, and he was, because of this handicapping system, he became a 2 handicap, brought his score down to 72.
To tie you. So someone who had 111, someone who had a 74 tied.
At 72, and there were 2 other individuals. Well, the winner this year was Chuck King from near Lansing, Michigan.
Chuck has won in the past. He's pretty darn... He's in my foursome. He's a good golfer.
I think this is the 3rd time he's won it. We may have to change the trophy to his name.
Well, the guy who always seemed to be the winner was
Brad Jacobs.
Brad Jacobs is good.
Yeah.
Oh, darn it. The guy was a comedy magician. It's not Matt, not Marcy.
David Merry.
David Merry.
Oh, from Canada. I think David won it twice. I've won it twice just because of the handicapping system in my part. But we have a couple of people that have won it a couple of times. Brad Jacobs, who's now not with us anymore.
Right.
He was a contender.
Yeah.
And you keep coming back. We love having you here. It's just an informal, wonderful way to start the day with guys who like to golf and ladies.
That's right, and ladies. Yeah, Lori and this young lady over here is playing.
No, Leah didn't play. She was
the cart girl.
Yeah, but for some reason didn't bring any booze, so I don't know.
Something's wrong there.
Yeah.
Well, but a lot of fun we had that day. To the cemetery. Now, you do this every year. That was something that was started many years ago. Then when you went out then with Carol Fox and...
Right, that was in the... I don't know when that was, and he took me on the private tour.
Yeah.
And my buddy Jeff Bibick from Chicago. Then after Carol died, Hank Morehouse requested that since Carol gave me the tour, it's now my responsibility to carry on the stories. So I believe this was the 12th, 13th, or 14th. That pandemic screwed up everything, so my numbers could be off. We had 100-some people there today in the stifling heat.
Yeah, and there's no a little bit of shade, but not a lot of trees there.
Well, not many people know. I had heat stroke at the very end.
Really?
Oh, it was terrible. I've never experienced anything like it. It was...
Well, you were talking the whole time.
Well, yeah, and I'm talking fast because I don't want the people to die.
Right.
And here, I found out later that I was supposed to be hydrating before the tour. This is all serious stuff.
Yeah.
But every year we get more and more people that, a magician, a close-up entertainer, and a comedian show up at a cemetery. They were dying to get there. The old joke, we've got almost 30 or 40 magicians buried there.
And they're also all in your book.
Not all of them.
Not yet.
There will be a 2022 edition because this is the 80th anniversary of the first magician. Skippy Lamore was buried there in 1942, as was Ted Coppin.
Okay.
Well, I can't remember his stage name. Ted and Della Coppin. No, Ted Banks.
Okay.
Yeah, the stage name was Ted Banks. But anyway, so he also died in 1942. So whoever dies in 2022 will have died on the 80th anniversary from the first one. And this will be the last book written.
There'll be sequels, in other words, there'll be volume
we will
2.
have addendums.
Yeah.
We will have addendums, so that way people don't have to buy all the information they've already had.
Right.
And the addendums will be released either every 5 years or 10 magicians, whichever comes first.
Have you got a successor in mind, by the way? Let's say 50 years from now who's going to be handling it?
I really don't. There's a couple of names that have been mentioned.
Okay. And people who are interested in the history?
We absolutely need somebody young who's going to be around for another 40 years.
Right, sure.
You absolutely have to love the Abbott's Magic Convention.
That's true.
You have to have a love for history. And...
Well, and that's the other thing as far as how much longer that this will be going on as Abbott's, because the Bordners don't have someone who's going to be taking this over in their name.
That I don't know, but I would... See, my whole purpose is to preserve the stories. Right. Some people collect magazines, other people collect props. I collect stories. The hard part is done.
Yeah.
Especially the magicians who died 70, 80 years ago, it was very difficult to get information on them. Now with the internet and smartphones, everything is captured at that moment. So I think and I'm not ready to give this up. It's a labor of love.
Sure.
So it's easier to find out, and now the chapters are getting longer just because there's more information readily available.
I like what you said also about how many people actually who are not buried there, although that they have already died, but you haven't got their remains or their body yet to inter. But then the rest of us are on deck. I thought that was funny.
yeah.
But this is the only convention I know of course, that has actually a cemetery tour. Quite unique because this is the Magic Graveyard that's here. That's right.
Yeah.
So you enjoying the convention so far? It's been a lot of fun?
Well, this is my 49th in a row.
Yep.
There's nowhere I'd rather be the first week of August than here.
And you always will not accept shows or whatever because this is more important?
I almost did. I had a request for a show this Saturday. And I've always told myself, I'll never leave again. I'll never leave again because I've left 2 or 3 times in the past.
Yeah.
So I just threw out this obnoxious figure.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to pay it. Son of a gun, I get to stay.
Okay, there you go. Well, Al, it's always good seeing you.
Scott, you're a dear friend. Thank you for preserving all this. This is where the memories are made of. And you thank you for doing this because now this is forever.
Yep, you bet. So, may our names, our magic live on as well beyond us in perpetuity, just in stories people will be telling too.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Al the Only, Scotty out. We just finished the evening show, as I was saying, when we talked with Al the Only there, and we're now with someone who is a professional assistant and just a wonderful person in general, Kitty Marie. Hey, Kitty.
Hi, how you doing?
Fantastic. I remember last year you had a booth, and you have a booth this year in there or not?
I did not. I was lazy. I didn't bring anything this year. But
I think you got a cool line. Talk to the people about what it is you sell.
Yeah, we have some T-shirts and we have some jackets, and they have like the little box jumper logo on them, which is like the girl in and out of the box. So.
Did you design them yourself?
I did, and my daughter actually drew it for me a long time ago, and then I had it like touched up and redone and made into the logo. So
that's pretty cool. And I see, what's it called? Savage? That's the what is it?
Oh, my hat. My hat says Savage.
Yeah.
And it's my little personality. I also have a really awesome one that's got a metal plate that says Ratchet.
Okay.
It just goes along with the day.
And that's something that you sell also, isn't it?
No, those are just.
That's
my little, yeah.
Okay. So, what'd you think of the evening show?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's always great down here, you know. And then I got to see Lance because, you know, I've never seen his B-Wave before.
Well, he doesn't do much performing, really. I mean, whenever he does Lance and Friends, and you and Keith West and Fielding and Michael Godot are all traveling then with him, normally he just kind of acts as the MC and says, let you guys do the stuff, right?
Well, no, he does the big
does he?
Purple Cabinet of Mystery with the cane box, and we do Excalibur, and
because I've not seen the show. I just assumed that he was not really performing much anymore.
He's involved, and everyone's always like, not as much as we want, but it's Lance Burton and Friends this time. So, no, he does a lot of MCing, but no, he gets involved, and there's some really cool tricks that were in the original show.
I see.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to be closing the show on Sunday, or Saturday, I mean?
No.
Are you going to be involved? They're doing nothing then?
Nope. We did the Darwin Memorial unveiling, and
that was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we've had fun. I've had fun, though. We get to go to the shows and all the yard sales, and now you're going to go to the Legion Hall.
Speaking of the yard sales, I haven't really talked much about that, and that's just something kind of cool that all the people, since it is a small town, and this is like the 1 week that everybody comes into town and has some money, and so a lot of the locals will just have big garage sales.
Oh, they're the best garage sales because they also have magic tricks.
Oh, they do?
So, you know, I got a really cool, like, glass lamp with the oil lamp, and I got a really good Pyrex glass bowl. They're going out of style. You got to get the good ones while you still can in the yard sales. And then, like, a dye box, you know, so where else can you just can't find that at any yard sale.
Yeah, no, not everybody sells magic props like dye boxes. They just have lying around the garage.
Right?
Well, so do you like to be coming back in future years? I mean, this is something you just kind of hang on.
I hope so. When they tell me, hey, we're going to go, and I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah. And it was kind of funny or unfortunate, I should say, the fact that the van had broken down just before you were going to be doing the unveiling of the
bus, and it's always a little tiny thing. And you go out and you get all the little tiny things, and it's like, because there's airbags for the ride suspension, and one of the valves didn't work, so one side didn't blow up. And it's like the littlest, tiniest thing, and the guy is like, oh yeah, I have parts in my shop, no problem. So we're going to get that tomorrow.
But it's a very nice way that they had prepared and gotten things ready for Gary Darwin's the unveiling of that, which is a Las Vegas sign, kind of a design. But you were supposed to pop out as a showgirl, kind of as a surprise.
They wanted me to come out of the bus and everything as little more of a surprise. And then first they were like, just go out there and unveil it, and then you can walk away. And then he got really happy and excited, and he's like, oh, it's going to be Viva Las Vegas, do a lap through the thing. And I'm in the heels trying not to fall down and become a viral video.
And I love the music they were playing, of course, some of his favorites, the Jack Jones and the Rat Pack and everybody.
The best send-offs are the ones where people aren't crying. They're laughing and hugging and remembering.
Yeah, it was a fun time. They did a great job, and you as well. Thank you very much for being a part of that.
Thank you.
Always great to see you. That was Kitty Marie for the Magic Word Podcast. Scotty out. We're in the Legion Hall now, and this is kind of where everybody hangs out. They're open till 1 a.m. And people at that point go outside and try to scale cards across the street, over the building across the street over there. But I'm here with someone who is his first Abbott's, I started to say TAOM, it's certainly not, first Abbott's convention. And I just saw him last week, and we chatted briefly, and that is the Doug Henning expert. That's Chip Romero. Hey, Chip.
Hello, Scott, and hello, everyone, on the Magic Word Podcast. We are here in the American Legion Hall, and we can see in a simple glance Bill Smith, Lance Burton, Keith West, Kitty Marie, Gene Anderson, the legends, Matt King, the legends are everywhere, and that's where we're at. So
we are, and that's just kind of, they're just hanging out and having a beer and having fun.
Everybody's just all smiling.
So a lot of people come to this who are not even performing. They just like the feel of this. Just like you're not, and it's like, there's Chip Romero over there, you know.
Well, I'm coming back from FISM, boss. This was real. This was a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's on your way.
It's the first time ever, because like Magic Live or whatever would overlap, and then or I was on cruise ships, so I never. This was like just the way that it fell in line. It was only 2 days after FISM.
What did you think about the cemetery tour?
I've been waiting for that for a long time, and Al the Only delivered, and I thought it was wonderful, but it was too damn hot. And I'm sorry. I suggest a night tour with lanterns, or let's all go in shorts and bikinis, and I'm just saying it was really hot.
It was.
But it was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Yep, well done. He's got a lot of stories and everything he tells about that.
He does it very well. It's very.
What do you think of the vibe, the feel of what is Abbott?
I have been told that this is a warm, cozy little convention, and that is exactly what it is. I can't believe when we drove down the street today that people had yard sales of magic effects. And I don't mind telling you this. I've got a car, so anything I see, I can buy. I mean, I'm buying. But what's been the really, really incredible thing for me, I lost a lot of things in 2 floods, and I am buying so much of it back. It's unbelievable. And some of this, I got a Jerry Minzer English Monty today, and that's one of the best packet tricks. But it's got the best little wallet and everything. And so I'm just saying, I've got real lucky. I've done a lot of things. I've already bought quite a bit of books that I lost in that flood, so I'm slowly getting it all back. But man, just to be able to drive down a road and people have magic tricks on tables in their front yards, that's something.
It's kind of cool when you drive into town. They've got banners saying "Welcome Magicians," and it is a huge thing.
Even the banners that are always here, the really pretty red ones. I thought they were going to take them down. I was going to try and buy one. Lenny said, "Nope, they're here year-round."
Yeah, that's true. And even the name of their mascot is called the Magi, the high school Magi.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
no, this is great.
Yeah, it is a fun little place, a fun town.
I've bought from Abbott's 50 years. Literally 50 years. In rope half dides, I've bought them my entire career from Abbott's, and yet I didn't see the inside of Abbott's until 2 days ago.
And was it everything that you expected it to be?
Yes, it is. They don't care about frames. They don't. We don't have time for frames. No, the smells, the history, everything about it for me is Candyland.
Yeah,
Skinny
yeah,
lean.
it's
There's
great.
no other way to say it. Skinny lean.
So, one quick question, then I'm going to let you go. But how's your book on Doug Henning coming?
Boss, it's all happening in tandem. Part of the talk at FISM, which 70% was in Canada, that is the book. That's what I'm doing, and also, like, I'm going in different directions. I also am still trying to figure out what the chapters are.
I was about to say about chapters. For example, would Canada be one?
Charles. Well, no, Canada. There'd be several chapters in Canada, but like Charles Bach gave me an idea of a way to lay the book out. And the thing is, there's so much to say that it's almost overwhelming. So I've got little chapters written, but what I've got to do is fill in those spaces. And I've got other things going, but right now I finally have the time. All I have done for the last 6 months is work on that FISM talk. But that FISM talk is the book.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it at the same time. The other thing is, I keep thinking, I can put this here, put this there. I am still going through newspaper clippings. I am still discovering stuff. So, if I do a talk somewhere next year, there might be 30% new stuff, simply because that's what I've learned during that time. It's so book coming. I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about that it's such an overwhelming project. I'm thinking of doing just a really, really kick-ass book on the grant. In other words, have the grant and then have maybe, 30 or 40 unseen pictures.
This is the grant he received from Canada.
The grant, and talk about how important that was, about what all he learned. Basically, it's a blueprint for magicians, right? I don't need dance lessons. Well, Doug learned how to use his hands and arms, his hands from dance lessons. At mime, what the hell am I going to learn from a mime? Well, Doug learned to show amazement of his own magic through the mime. So what I'm saying is, all of these tools, somebody today could take those tools and be an exceptional magician, because it's, magic has kind of lost that theatrical. It really has. AGT and everything has done a lot for magic, but it's not theatrical like it used to be. It's not on the stage. Everybody's watching TVs. So, it's a nice mix of live art. But again, I think you could take these tools that Doug applied when he got the grant, and I think it could make a much better magician in today's world.
Yeah. Well said. Well, listen, I'm glad you're enjoying the convention, and I'm sure you're going to be coming back.
I'm on cloud 9. I'm not going to miss another one. I'm not. I'm retired now. I can go to any convention I want.
As time as you want.
I can go any convention I want. But I got to say it again. This is such a great thing after FISM. It really is like decompressing after FISM.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends here, and there's 4 magic shops. And our car's got some room in it, and I'm going to go buy some more stuff from Sterlini in Abbott's tomorrow.
There you go. So the Magic Word Podcast. That was Chipper Merrill. Scotty out.
Thank you. I think that one's going to go viral. That one right there. That's